Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our channel. Despite the outcry of reenacting or recreating or tracing out grazing routes in Nigeria, it looks like federal government is actually hell bent on doing this, right? And they have decided to make it public how they're going to go about it, tracing this whole thing out. Right now, as we speak, you may need to listen to find out if your state of origin or your state of residence, if you're living in Nigeria, if it's involved, or even your community and how they're going to go about this. Number one, you're going to find all this out. Before we do so, we'd like you to subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button beside it. You will see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as we update our channel on YouTube. Well, this is how, according to federal government officials, said how we will trace grazing routes in the state. Following the directive by the President Muhammadu Buhari, retired, for the reclamation of grazing routes in states across the country, the senior officials in the Presidency and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development have given a hint as to how they will go about this assignment. Buhari's directive on the reclamation of grazing routes has met with widespread pushback, especially in the southern part of the country, where the 17 southern governors have declared their resolve on promulgating anti-open grazing laws as a pinnacle for the incessant farmers' herders clashes. The federal government said tracing and reclaiming the grazing routes was the only way to put an end to the incessant clashes between nomadic herdsmen and farmers across the country, and it was moving ahead with the plan. Senior government officials in the Presidency and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development said that the grazing routes were classified into primary, secondary, and tertiary, and the retracing process will take cognizance of all these. Okay, so we have primary level, secondary level, and tertiary level. Let's continue. Well, we also learned that some federal structures were already constructed on grazing routes already, with a tertiary institution in the Federal Capital Territory named as one of such structures. Are we going to demolish our universities for that? We'll find out. The official who spoke on condition of anonymity noted that several programs have been developed by the federal government towards the exercise, while some were currently ongoing in various states to address the conflict occasioned by the movement of pastoralists from one location to another. It was further gathered that the federal government was supporting Yobe, Katsina, that's the state, in the development of grazing reserves, as Bauchi, Kwara had indicated interest. The official, however, explained that the government would be mindful of conflict zones as it moves to recover the grazing routes. Commenting on structures located on grazing routes during an interview with one of our respondents in Abuja, a senior official at the Presidency who pleaded to be anonymous due to the sensitivity of the matter said the University of Abuja is on the stock, that's on the grazing route. I used to see monuments on the stocks route, and these routes have been encroached on for a long time, so retracing them will unearth a lot of things. In many states, farmers are farming on the stock routes. On whether it will not be possible to retrace the route considering the massive level of encroachment on them, the official replied, there are some that you can still retrace. You'll be surprised to know that even some Fulani are not after reclaiming the stock route and the grazing reserves because they are farming there. Some of them now say that the farms is what they are surviving on. The official explained that the stock route connects one grazing reserve to another. The source explained that the primary stock routes were routes that moved from one ECOWAS state to another, while the secondary stock routes were routes that moved from one state to another state. The tertiary route and the stock routes that connect grazing reserves within a state, and cattle breeders know this route and use the monument on them as guides, the official stated. Also speaking on grazing reserves and rules, a director at the FMARD stated that the government, in collaboration with Gombe State, was currently developing a model grazing reserve in the state. The source noted that a lot of programs were being embarked upon by the federal government for pastoralists, adding that once the project becomes functional, there will be rapid livestock transformation in Nigeria. The official said there is a model grazing reserve currently being established in Gombe. and some media persons were there. There's another intervention in Borno State. Apart from that, we also have within our capital project development of pastures and grazing reserves and settlements where we have pastoralists. In addition to all this, we are also desalting dams, desalting dams, particularly now that the rains have come, and we have programs that will encourage the pastoralists to settle down as much as possible. We are constructing solar powered boreholes and systems to provide light within the livestock intervention programs locations and some other grazing reserves that we have been intervening in as located other states that have not been mentioned for the LIP. On July 24, 2020, Punch exclusively reported that the federal government had to introduce the LIP as a replacement scheme for the controversial Roga Grazing Area project 2 years after suspending the Roga scheme. The report stated that the LIP was introduced to address the lingering farmer header crisis across the country. The acting director, Animal Husbandry Department of Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Winnie Lai Solari, told one of our respondents that the LIP was already being implemented in 6 pilot states. These states are Adamawa, Kwara, Niger, Bauchi, Kaduna, and Gobe, Lai Solari had stated. Meanwhile, a source at the Agri Ministry stated on Friday that aside from LIP, the government had commenced another livestock project which had kicked off in Nasarawa. One of them is a livestock breeding program in Kano. Apart from that, we are partnering with Feed and Fodder Association on National Pasture Development Program. All right, this is actually getting very interesting. But looking at this, very critical. Let's look at this very quickly. If you are looking at retracing primary, secondary, and tertiary routes, the one that connects from ECOWAS to another ECOWAS state, the one that connects from one state to another state, and the one that connects from one cattle breeders settlement to another cattle breeder settlement. In a state or in a country where population explosion is a thing that is like a dynamite already, Nigerians are growing in geometric progression. The livestock, the source of income, is growing in arithmetic progression. In fact, permit me to say that Nigerian population is growing in exponential progression. It's explosive, and we are still thinking of retracing grazing route. People are talking about ranching, and if you ask me, this ranching should just stay in the north. Okay, there are a lot of lands, and besides that, why are we so much, this issue of grazing? You're going to start retracing some of this grazing route, and if some of these monuments are there, you can imagine universities are there, some capital intensive projects are there, you're going to destroy it just because of grazing routes. Let's